Hey everybody, I'm Steve Conrad, and I made this video because this is the time of year when more than half of the people who've made a New Year's resolution have already encountered a major obstacle, causing them to stop. If you've ever struggled making a lifestyle change or sticking with a New Year's resolution, then I wanted to share with you a few tips to help you change those bad habits into new, lasting habits. By April each year, over half of the people who set a New Year's resolution have already stopped. And surveys have shown that fewer than 10% of the people who set a resolution back in January will stick with it all the way through December. This makes me really sad because that means that 9 out of every 10 people that really want to make a positive change in their lifestyle struggle every year and sometimes never succeed. But I've learned that that loop of searching for new diets, workouts, and cleanses doesn't have to continue. I found the solution is in the approach, not in the program. With the right approach, you can make any program stick. There are hundreds of excellent diets and exercise programs available, but people often struggle trying to make those new routines a lifelong habit, regardless of what the actual program is requiring. Before long, old habits tend to take over, especially as life gets busy or stressful. To make a new habit last, you have to first understand what influences your good and bad habits on an emotional level. Once you identify those triggers, I'll show you how you can use that information to achieve any goal you set for yourself. There's a concept I want to teach you about called choice architecture. Specifically applied to creating a healthy lifestyle, it's the idea that you can build different environments around your life that cue and reward good habits while redirecting bad ones. Choice architecture is most commonly used in the business world, like setting up the layout of a supermarket. Stores will often put certain items in very specific places in order to get a desired response from shoppers. Many magazines are placed in the front of the store next to checkout rather than in the back because a customer waiting in line is more likely to grab a magazine, flip through the pages, and if there's a good story or article, they'll buy that magazine. Similarly, grocery stores will put the more staple grocery items like eggs, milk, or deli products in the back of the store, forcing people to go all the way through the aisles in order to get their essentials. This is with the hope that shoppers will grab additional things along the way. Now, these methods work. Item placement, labeling, color, and a different variety of factors have all been shown to elicit very similar responses from people. And this is how choice architecture works. The idea is to influence a person's actions by setting up an environment in a specific way. Many businesses have figured out that by just understanding a few things about a person's impulses, wants, and basic needs, you can make small adjustments to their environment and heavily influence that person's behavior. In the case of a supermarket, the desired result is making more sales. But this idea can be used to influence your lifestyle choices too. By setting up your home or work environment in specific ways, you can make major progress with difficult changes in your own life, like eating healthier and exercising. In a minute, I'm going to take you through a short lesson. I want you to focus on a few areas that you might be struggling with, and I'll show you how you can become your own choice architect and how to create an environment that helps support your new habits and push you closer to your goals. Let's get started. To be successful in changing any habit, you have to first know 3 things about how a habit works. 1, every habit has a cue. If you're changing an old habit, you have to identify what triggers that habit to start. It could be a certain time of day, it could be a craving like hunger, or something you do when you get anxious, tired, or stressed. The second is every habit has a specific action or routine. This is the action that you're hoping to change. This might be excess snacking, drinking, smoking, or hitting that snooze button and skipping the gym in the morning. This is the habit that you want to change or replace. Now, finally, every habit has some sort of reward. Now, this is the most important factor because this is often what fuels the entire habit. When the brain sees or feels a cue, then it immediately starts craving the associated reward, thus triggering the habit to happen in the first place. But once you identify the cue and the reward, you can start to restructure your environment to trigger and encourage a new habit. I created a few questions that you can ask yourself whenever you're trying to create a new habit. First, start by identifying the cue. When you notice the old habit start to kick in, ask yourself these 5 questions. Number 1, what day is it? Now, it could be a weekend, it could be a weekday. These things are going to change the way you act out through your entire day and how different habits affect you. Second is, what time is it? Is it morning? Is it night? These things can also have a huge impact on different habits in your everyday. The third question you want to ask yourself is, what is my emotional state or my mood? Now, are you tired? Are you bored? Are you stressed? Have you eaten recently? Or have you possibly had a couple of drinks? All of these things can change your mood and your emotional state, which can affect the way you deal with different circumstances. Number 4 is, you want to ask yourself, where am I? Am I at home? Am I at work? Am I out in public at a restaurant or possibly a movie? These factors can also change the way you deal with your habits and the different habits that you create through your day. And finally, the 5th and final question is, ask, who am I around? Am I alone? Am I with coworkers? Am I with a group of close friends? Different people are going to change the way you act in different situations, so it's important to know who you're around and how that's affecting your habits. So each of these questions will help identify exactly what triggers your habit. Next, after you've determined what triggers the habit, you want to determine the reward. What I want you to do is, once you've done the habit, ask yourself these next 3 questions about how you're feeling now. First is, what is your emotional state compared to before you did the habit? Are you happier? Do you feel more energetic or more relaxed? It's important to understand what the habit does to your emotional mood and what kind of a reward that gives you. Second, I want you to think about what aspects of the experience were most memorable about that habit. For example, with food, is it the flavor, is it the texture, or is it the actual act of eating? So what is the overall thing about that habit that you really enjoyed? And finally, the third question you want to ask yourself is the craving or impulse satisfied? If yes, for how long? The answers to these questions will help you understand what drives the habit, and it'll help give you clues on how to replace it. As an example, I personally enjoy late night snacking. Usually, it happens after 7 o'clock, and frequently because I'm bored rather than hungry. Because 7 o'clock is usually not too long after dinner, my cue is being at home late at night and feeling anxious to do something. My favorite snack is usually chips and salsa or pita chips and hummus. They're not terrible choices, all things considered, but bored snacking means that I eat a lot of them. Part of my reward is the act of eating itself. It satisfies the boredom, and I also really enjoy crunchy foods. So knowing these 2 things, I've been able to find healthier options like apples or carrots or sunflower seeds that give me the crunch I'm craving, and they take long enough to eat that they keep me occupied. Now, once you understand what triggers your habits as well as what motivates them, then you can become your own choice architect and start influencing your own actions, decisions, and impulses to help you achieve whatever you want. So one more time, let's go over those questions to help you get started with your own habit changes. First, identify the cue. Ask yourself these 5 questions. What day is it? What time is it? What is my emotional state or my mood? Where am I? And finally, who am I around? After you actually do the habit, stop and then reflect by asking yourself the 3 follow-up questions. Number 1, what is my emotional state or mood after compared to before the habit? Number 2, what aspects of the experience were most enjoyable or memorable for you? And number 3, after you completed the habit, is this impulse or the craving satisfied? And if yes, for how long? Hopefully this roadmap will help you make more sustainable changes that fit into your own life almost seamlessly. Check out my next video at fitculturestudio.com, or you can sign up today and come listen to my first live seminar about engineering your environment for success on April 24th, where I'll dive deeper into this lesson and many more to help you make lifestyle changes that last, so you never have to quit on a resolution or a goal.